Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree if you are new here, and in today's video I'm going to be trying the top rated drugstore products from Ulta. So basically what I did is I went onto the app and I went into each little category and I sorted it by top rated and then kind of went past the things that were new releases and only had like a couple 5-star ratings, so of course they were considered to be top rated. So I found things that had a ton of reviews and then kind of had to filter out, like stuff that I've already tried, or brands that I didn't support. And I purchased a full face of top rated drugstore products from Ulta. I did skip a couple categories, brows, liner, mascara. I already know my tried and trues. I really don't try new things from that in that realm. And then also I could not find a loose setting powder to save my life. I have apparently tried all of them. So that's where we're at. I have a pressed face powder that I'm going to use, but I did pull a regular loose setting powder over here to use as well. But yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing me try the top rated drugstore products from Ulta, then just keep on watching. Alright, 2 quick little disclaimers to start out the gate. I filmed a video yesterday, which would be I'll link it up in the eye for you guys. It's the DGAF and Volume 3 Palette Throwback Thursday, and literally in the middle of filming that video, I learned that my husband has COVID. And later on that day, I had my OCD therapy class situation, and my therapist was pretty much just like, yo, this is one of your biggest fears. This is basically a giant OCD exposure for you. Kind of just roll with it. We didn't really have the opportunities to isolate from each other, not really in a way that's meaningful, at least. So I'm not making out with my husband, but he has COVID. I woke up this morning, my throat's a little bit scratchy, and I'm also talking quietly because he's literally asleep on the other side of this wall, but my throat's a little bit scratchy, but as of right now I am fine. I'm off for the next week anyway, so we're gonna do this as much as possible. But since I found that out in the middle of that video, I felt the need to update you guys. I really wanted to film this video today. It was the video I had originally planned, if my schedule hadn't changed completely. This was the video I had planned to film today because I only had time to film one video, and I was like, I really want to do this one instead of filming another Palette Throwback Thursday. And yeah, that's where I'm at. My other disclaimer is that I purchased all of this stuff in the beginning of May. I am filming this the 3rd week of June. You guys are seeing this in the beginning of August. So this was all top rated when I purchased it. I can't speak to whether or not it's still top rated, but let's just go ahead and jump in, shall we? First things first, I have the Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer. I'm a really big fan of the MAC Paint Pot. That's pretty much my go-to base. This is definitely much creamier than the Paint Pot. What does this feel like? It feels kind of like a cross between the Paint Pot and the ABH primer. Instinctually, I want to take a sponge and bounce over it, but I don't know that that would be a good idea. If I'm being honest, this is the product that I am the most concerned about. So I'm actually really glad it's the first thing that I'm using. So if it really goes downhill with the eyeshadows, I can literally just wipe it off and use my normal eyeshadow primer. It did a good job at evening out my lids, and it applied very easily. I obviously won't know what it does until I'm actually doing something with it, but it does kind of feel like it's accentuating the dryness on my lids. We'll see how it goes. And then next up for eyeshadow, I have the Warrior 2 palette by Juvia's Place. This had so many 5-star reviews. I really honestly I had to seriously pull back because it seemed like everything in the top rated section was Juvia's Place. It got to a point where I was having to kind of start skipping over Juvia's Place because I was this is about to turn into trying the top rated Juvia's Place products. Like I needed some variety, you know? But this is what the inside of the palette looks like right here. It is beautiful, just matte neutral shades. I did recently pick up a super colorful, much newer Juvia's Place palette. It's the Culture palette. And I like it. I like it. The formula is can be a little bit weird with certain shades, but hopefully it'll be good with neutrals. I'm going to start out with a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to go into Zazz and just set my brow bone. I'm going into this with absolutely no fucking idea what I'm doing, so we're just doing this together. All right, really quick, let me swatch all of these so I can kind of get an idea of what everything looks like, and then maybe I'll have an idea. All right, the only one I didn't swatch is Zazz, because you can see it on my lids, but that is it right there. Honestly, very, very unimpressive swatches. The black is the only one that swatched, like, kind of, there's a shade under there, you just can't barely fucking see it. Super unimpressive swatches, but I mean, swatches don't mean everything. I do think it's a little bit weird that there's a black and then like a charcoal shade in here as well. Like you could make that mixing the black and the like bone shades together. So I think that that's like, it kind of takes up a shade that would have been nice to be something else maybe. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna roll with it, honestly. I'm gonna start out with a big fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade right here and just start building that up on my crease. Okay, it applies very nicely. I wish that I had gotten like a cream or liquid eyeshadow to like complement, but we're going all matte today. I just know that the blushes that I picked are all warm tones, so I wanted to kind of stick with the more warmer tones in here. Next up, I'm going to take a slightly smaller fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into the dark red shade right here, and I'm going to build that up on my outer corner. I think the worst part about this for me right now is it's fucking summer, and my apartment literally only has a living room wall AC unit, so the rest of the house gets pretty warm, especially when the AC is not on. I've kind of figured out how to like daisy chain the fans to cool down the rest of the house when the AC is on, but when just fans are on or when there's nothing on at all, it gets pretty fucking warm in here. And especially while I'm filming and I have the lights on and I have the window open and everything like that. And I'm literally sitting here being like, am I warm because I'm literally warm, or am I warm because like I'm starting to run a fever? Because I'm just like, does my throat feel scratchy because I slept with a fan pointing at me all night? Or does my throat, and it's like not even scratchy or sore, it just kind of feels like there's something like right here. Or do I have COVID, you know? I'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. I'm gonna go back into that first shade that I used and just soften up these edges. Alright, and then last but not least for my lids, I'm going to take a flat but still fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into this middle orangey shade, and I'm just going to pack that on my lids. Alright, this feels like a good place to start. I'm probably going to do like one of the dark rounds on my lower lash line to just kind of see the vibe. But so far, so good. I think that this will be a super cute like staple matte neutral palette. I intentionally picked this one for that reason. But I also I made sure that I didn't have a lot of these shades in like my ColourPop Gone matte palette. So this will work well without like clashing with that palette too much. So that's good. I'm gonna jump off really quick and put on a little bit of a wing, clean up underneath my eyes, and get ready to move on to the next step. All right, I sprayed my face with a little bit of primer oil, or primer water, because I always have to. Next up is a product that I definitely didn't need, but considering the amount of times I've talked about it on my channel, it just needed to be finally tried. I have the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I already know and love the Mint Melt Cooling Primer and the Jelly Pop Primer, so I already know that I'm gonna have a good experience with this, but I'm mostly curious to see if it has a smell. It does not. And of course, Thursdays is the day that the lawnmower people are here. It feels exactly like the other ones. I'm not surprised by any means. I do know that you're supposed to wait about 30 to 60 seconds before you put on anything else. So I'm going to show you the foundation and the concealer that I got, and then I'll just kind of speed you guys through me applying it, especially considering Mr. Lawnmower Man's right there. Change of plans. I'm just gonna apply this stuff and then I'll show you guys what it is and tell you guys my thoughts afterwards, since apparently he is mowing right fucking there. Hold on, I'll speed you guys through this. All right, well, he's moved on for a moment, sort of. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation, the dewy version. I have the shade Shell Ivory, which is probably a smidge too light. No, a smidge too light, but it'll work. I've tried this a really long time ago. I do not remember my thoughts at all. But this was another one of those categories that I had a really hard time with because I've tried so many drugstore foundations that I kind of just had to go with one that I couldn't remember how I felt about it. So far, so good. I obviously didn't do my normal routine of like putting on an under eye corrector or putting any like concealer on my like red spots or anything like that, so we could get a true visual. A true visual, I mean, we can understand how dark my under eyes are. Jesus. Alright, it's definitely just the slightest bit too light for me, but overall it looks decent. I feel like it will look really good once, you know, like the rest of my face is on. Kind of sucks that I got one that's like a little bit too light going into summer where I'm like, you know, gonna be a little bit more tan, but we'll deal with it. It doesn't have, like, it's not, I would typically build it up right there, but I'm gonna see if I can kind of work that in with the foundation or the concealer. So for concealer, I have the Winky Luxe Peeper Perfect Full Coverage Under Eye Concealer. This had amazing reviews, but I've also heard this like talked about a ton on TikTok. Like a ton. Only thing I'm concerned about, I mean, this is like medium to full coverage. Like you can still see my freckle, but it's like enough coverage that I think I'll be okay with a fuller coverage concealer. I'm just gonna put on just the littlest bit. I got the shade Fair. Will once again probably be a little bit too light, but it'll work well with how light this foundation is. So I'm literally using just the tiniest little drop. Kind of work that in a little bit with my finger, and then I'll go in with a sponge. I'm going to just put a little bit right on my cheeks, a little bit on my nose, a little bit on my chin, and then the rest on my forehead. Just to kind of make sure that my coverage situation is even throughout. I don't know why I was expecting that to be much thicker than it is. Much thicker. Okay, so I like to let concealer sit for just a few minutes. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to speed you guys through me blending this out, and then off camera I'm just going to basically set my entire face with the Coty Airspun translucent setting powder, and then I'll show you guys the powder foundation that I got, because I like to put a powder foundation on over a like loose setting powder. So that's where we're at. That's what I'm gonna do. I really don't know that I would consider that to be full coverage, or like the full coverage that it was hyped to be on TikTok. Like, it looks nice, and like I'll definitely continue wearing it assuming that it wears well throughout the day, but like you can still see like darkness kind of peeking through. So I don't know that I consider that to be full coverage, but I'm gonna go set my face with some loose powder and I will be right back. Really quick while I'm kind of cleaning up my workspace just a little bit. I'm not gonna try this in today's video because it doesn't fall in the category, but I did get this free gift with purchase of this Wet n Wild Take Your Vitamins Super Nutrient Face Mist. So I plan on doing a whole speed reviews and I'll include all of these products in there, so I will chat about this then. But I am curious to see what the sprayer is like. Oh, not bad. I feel like that would be a good spray to use. Like, I like to spray my face after I put on my concealer and my foundation and my concealer, but before I set it, I'll like spray my face down and let it dry. I feel like that would be a good spray to use then. Anyways, I'm gonna be completely honest with you up front. I am not overly impressed so far. My eyeshadow looks great, but like this did not set well at all. It looked fine before I set it. My foundation looks okay, but like that concealer did not set well. So I have pulled over a lighter shade of the e.l.f. Camo powder foundation just in case once I put on this other powder foundation I feel like I need something, you know. We'll kind of see. More than likely I am gonna put it on. I almost put it on without even telling you guys, but I wanted you guys to see what this looked like as it stands, but like you can really see it's not looking so hot. Like in my inner corners it does not look that good. For powder foundation, I have the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear. I got the shade 10 Porcelain. I am so surprised I have never tried this. This has so much hype and I just have never gotten around to trying it, but I love a good powder foundation. I love just setting my face with powder foundation. I love doing it in this way where I set my face with like a translucent setting powder and then go back in and add a powder foundation afterwards, but like that looks so good. Wow. I'm definitely gonna have to put that Camo CC or the Camo powder on. This is a little powdery. Just throwing that out there. I mean, it's a fucking powder, but it definitely has some fluff to it. But I'm glad that I got this, considering I feel like I needed just a little bit more coverage. Again, maybe shot a hair too light, but I think it'll all work in the end. Yeah, like my pores look super, super smooth. I like kind of one little freckle. It's just like, I'm still here though. Okay. So yeah, let me take this shade in 120 and just kind of see if I can save this a little bit. I mean, I'll definitely continue to give the concealer more of a shot. Maybe I didn't use enough, maybe I used too much, maybe it's better with a brush, maybe it's better with like a under eye corrector, maybe that specific powder just doesn't work with it. Not that I've ever ran into a powder that fucking Coty doesn't work, and not that I've ever run into a concealer or a foundation that Coty doesn't work with, but who knows. I'll continue to give it a try and see kind of where the world takes me, but that definitely, just on first impression, feels like a product that is way overhyped on TikTok. All right, next up is bronzer, which thank God I need some color in my skin. And I have here the, wow, this is big. I have here the Juvia's Placed Bronze in light. It has a huge mirror in it with a nice little cover on it. I'm gonna keep that on there for now. Here are the two shades that it comes with. I'm gonna use both because fuck it. Here are the two shades right here. Super excited about this because it seems like shades that will work for me year round. Really excited about that. So I'm gonna start off with a big fluffy, and I'm gonna go into the lighter of the two shades and just build that up, and then I'll probably use the deeper, warmer shade to just kind of, you know, like finesse the outer perimeters. But this one's definitely a little bit more cool toned. So this shade will be great for me in the winter when I like a lighter, cooler toned bronzer. I think you can see kind of with the bronzer and without, it definitely makes a huge difference. But I can definitely see this being a little bit too fair for me for like half the year. That's not a problem though. I am curious to see the other shades in this, just because I mean, I already have bronzers for my kit, but I definitely could use some deep bronzers, and I feel like Juvia's Place would have them, and this feels like it would be a good size to have in like a kit. This would last a decent amount of time. Alright, I'm gonna take a fluffy brush really quick into that lighter shade and just right in this space right here. Alright, so there is my skin with just the lightest shade on. Put a little bit more on this side. With just the lightest shade on, that is my skin right there. I'm just going to take the exact same brush and I'm going to just intensify just a little bit with that deeper shade. So far, this has been one of my favorite products that I've used. Even though it's just like such a simple little bronzer, but it looks really, really good. The tones are very nice. Oh, I forgot. I realized what I forgot. Okay, so one of my favorite like makeup steps is to take a product like the Essence Pure Nude Highlight, and I'll just take a really big fluffy brush and I'll kind of diffuse it all over my forehead, and it'll give me just like this soft, just like natural glow. It'll just like make my skin look like a skin again. And I have heard so many freaking people talk about the Cat Pro Powder in Pearl Luminizer, and this did pop up as a top rated product under the loose powders, but I didn't want the big, like, I didn't want the big regular color, so I figured I would get Pearl Luminizer. That is what it looks like right there. It's gonna be a little bit more icy white. Kind of see it better on my right here. A little bit more icy white, but I think that it will do the job. So I just kind of poured some into the cap, and I do like to do this with a big fluffy brush, so I'm gonna have to like really get my brush in there and then tap it off, and I'm gonna lose a lot, but this is a whole fuckload of powder anyway, so just kind of, oh Jesus, and then just really buff this in. Really scary when you first lay it down, but you can kind of buff it in and it looks beautiful. It's definitely a messy product, I will say that, but I'm very excited about that one. The least exciting product that I'm using today, but I'm very excited about it. Alright, when I do under eye shadow, which isn't honestly all the time, I like to take like a little shader brush, honestly, and just smudge it. So I am going to take my little shader brush and I'm going to go into this top shade up here and just smudge that on my lower lash line. Alright, I went a little bit overboard on blushes. I'm not gonna use all three today because that would be a little crazy. I don't know why I bought three, but I did. Alright, we'll start with the intimidating one. This is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Satin Blush. I got the shade Marigold. She's fucking orange. Okay, it's not so bad once it's blended out. Definitely see where that could be a little bit overboard though. So like I said, I'm not going to use that one today. We will try that another day, shall we? But I do think that I will layer these two. So the first one is the Essence the blush in the shade Bespoke. I do have Beef Fitting and I think that it's a gorgeous shade. And I was just really honestly excited to try Bespoke. That's what it looks like right there. It's just kind of like a glowy, like bronzy blush shade. And then I also have the LA Girl Just Blushing blush in the shade Just Natural. Super soft feeling. That is what it looks like right there. Go down by Bespoke. Super pretty shade. Might be a hair more cool toned than I think I was planning for. Totally fine. We'll deal with it as it comes. So I'm going to start off with Bespoke and kind of focus it a little bit farther back, and then I'll put the LA Girl one closer to the apples of my cheeks. Alright, cute. Definitely not as pigmented as I was kind of anticipating, and it blended really well into my bronzer, so it's not like overwhelmingly noticeable. But it kind of just added just like a little bit of a glow, which is pretty. Definitely a very, very subtle blush, but I don't hate that. Alright, next up, I have two highlighters. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I've tried both of these highlights, but apparently I have tried damn near every single top-rated drugstore highlight. So I went with two that I haven't tried in years and years and years, to kind of remind myself how I feel about them and re-experience. So first things first, I have the Milani Strobe Light highlighter, and this one's in the shade Afterglow. So this one's like a much drier formula. Oh wow, okay. That's what it looks like right there. But like it doesn't, I guess it does a little bit, but like it doesn't really swatch the greatest. So we'll see how that goes on the face. And then I also have the Wet n Wild highlighting powder in the shade Bloom Time. Like a beautiful peachy pink shade. Much more creamy and easier to swatch. I'm gonna put Bloom Time on my inner corners to start. I'm a little confused by the strobe light, honestly, and I'm saying this without having tried it again, but trying it right now. Because I'm not quite sure why it's so top rated when it was like, it's so dry, so dry. So we're gonna start with the strobe light on my cheeks, and I am gonna go in with a denser highlighting brush, and if it doesn't please me, then I'm gonna put Bloom Time on, because as you can see, Bloom Time looks great. So the brush does pick up some. It definitely does just feel like you have to really work your brush into the pan and then like really work it onto your skin to get it to show up. But it's pretty. Is it like the best highlighter that I've ever used? No. Would I consider it to be top rated? Absolutely not. I'm gonna leave it though. I'm not gonna layer it. I'm gonna jump off and finish up the majority of my face, and I'll be back to do lips with you guys. Okay, I think with it all kind of like said and done, I'm happy with how my makeup turned out. Like obviously without my lips, obviously. But like I'm happy with everything, how everything looks. I'm still just kind of hung up on the fact that a lot of these are top rated, and I'm like, are they though? Like, I feel like I've tried better. So that's where I'm at, and that's where I'll be. For my lips, I have two different products. I have the Juvia's Place Velvety Matte Lipstick. This is in the shade Lady. It has like a very, very light, sweet kind of scent to it. And then I also got the e.l.f. Lip Lacquer in the shade Fantasy. This has no fragrance to it whatsoever, so we're excited about that. I am going to toss on just a little bit of a lip liner, and then I'm going to start out obviously with the Juvia's Place lipstick. This is such an interesting like bullet shape. It's super creamy, definitely a little bit more like brown than I was expecting. I don't know that this is the color for me. Definitely not the color for me. I got, and see, it's looking super warm on camera. In person, it's got a more green undertone to it. I remember when I very first tried everything from About Face, and I got one of their liquid matte lipsticks, and I tried it on, and the formula on it was beautiful, but the shade was so, it was very similar to this. It was like this greeny based brown, that it just did not work for me at all. And I like couldn't even bring myself to like continue testing the product. But we're gonna see if we can lighten it up a little bit with, it's a very, very thin lip gloss, and like the doe foot does not pick up very much product at all. Alright, I could see where people would like this lip gloss because like it's super fucking cheap, but it's so thin and you get so little on the applicator that you have to like keep going in over and over and over again. You're gonna run through this shit so quickly. So like it's not for me at all. But, you know, I could see why some people would like it. Okay, so the lips were a fail. I wouldn't call today like a fail. It's just been like mediocre at best. Yeah, just kind of mediocre at best. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up today's video. I'm gonna go try not to get more sick than I already am. I'm gonna go have therapy and be like, yo, therapist, bro, you know? Anyways, I'm gonna hold back my opinions until I get a better feel for everything, and I'll chat about it in a speed reviews next month. But yeah, overall, pretty just mediocre. Definitely not top rated. Not top rated by any stretch of the imagination. I'm actually pretty disappointed. Pretty fucking disappointed. I'm gonna end it here. Comment down below and let me know a product that is top rated that you love, like just a super hyped product that you love. I would love to know. Please subscribe if you have not already. It would mean the world to me. Like this video, ring the bell, do all the things. What do I say? Oh, I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.